The last category that we ask about for equal frequency of representation will be disability. And by disability we mean people who are handicapped, in particular physically handicapped. Maybe they're in a wheelchair or crutches, or they're missing an arm, or something like this. I think probably in most of the materials that you find, they will be very rarely depicted. So this will probably be, I don't want to tell you ahead of time what your answer will be, but probably people with disabilities do not appear in most of these materials. People with disabilities actually constitute approximately 10% of the world population. So if you have 10% of roughly 10% of your characters are portrayed as being handicapped, physically handicapped in some way or another, then you would choose that one. If you have even one person that is portrayed on crutches or in a wheelchair or with some sort of physical disability, even if they don't make up 10% of the characters portrayed, then you would choose this one. And again, for better or worse, most likely your answer will be people with disabilities are not portrayed at all. If you are unsure about any of your answers to 21A, B, and C, again, you have this optional place to leave further clarification or comments that you want to communicate to maybe clarify why you chose one or the other. But that's optional, and you can leave it blank as well. As far as roles, the very last content question has to do with bias-free roles, and you have your explanation here in your guide as well as in your hard copy. So we're going to ask again for these same three categories if the characters that are portrayed as females or males or from different religious identities or whatever, if they are portrayed in equal capacities, so portrayed with comparable skills, knowledge, accomplishment, and roles. So, or on the opposite would be, is one group portrayed as somehow superior or better or more capable than the other group. So to be portrayed in this manner with comparable skills, knowledge, accomplishments, and goals, they should be presented as, on the whole, as social, intellectual, and moral equals. They are participating in similar activities, whether the roles are traditional or non-traditional. They're both presented in leadership roles and in supporting roles. No group is portrayed in a subservient or inferior position that would be demeaning for that subgroup. That doesn't mean children can't be portrayed as sweeping out the classroom for their teachers, because that is in many places not a demeaning act for a child to be doing for a teacher, but appropriate for its subgroup. But if you have only females doing all of the work and men sitting around doing nothing, then that might be unequal portrayal of their skills and their capacities. It gets a little tricky here because if you're having a narrative, you may have, a bad guy and a good guy, and the bad guy usually loses in the end and the good guy wins. But as long as these characters are not portrayed as being representative of a whole subgroup, so, the Christian defeats the Muslim, and this is somehow proof that all Christians are better and stronger and wiser than all Muslims, that would not be an equitable and bias-free role portrayal. So, again, these are very subjective questions, but you have to try to grasp what is the intention and how we would interpret these different portrayals. Is there some sort of underlying sense of differences as far as superiority versus inferiority, or not so much? And we will pick up with some examples in the next video.